Good day. This is Brother Medina for Tuesday, Seventh-day Adventist. And please let us start with a word of prayer. Gracious, loving Father, be with us as we enter into this presentation. Bless everyone that listens and help them to prepare to protect themselves for your glory's sake. And for their salvation's sake we pray. In Jesus' holy name, amen. Well, my dear people, we discussed last week evidence that deals with protecting yourself from the coronavirus, the novel virus that today is causing so much people to die. We have gotten information from China itself, from people in China itself, that things are even worse than you think. They have dug huge trenches of graves and have dumped bodies of thousands of people that have died in those graves. But the world is not knowing what is going on. They are not seeing because there is a blackout from the Chinese Communist government. There is also a measure of complicity with the mainstream media as to what is going on. We have searched to get original documentation from reputable sources as to the origins of this whole thing and how to deal with it. And God has blessed us with great revelations. I have in my hands here another document. The name of it is On the Origins of the 2019 Novel Coronavirus, Wuhan, China. This document is dated January the 30th, 2020. It is produced by James Lyons Wheeler, PhD. This individual here is part of an organization by the name of IPAC, which deals with research in viruses. And this organization can break down a virus to its various parts and show the origins of this virus. This organization produced a paper 2020, January the 30th, and it was specially sent to an elder of Tuesday Seventh-day Adventist in St. Vincent and the health secretary of Tuesday Seventh-day Adventist in Trinidad and Tobago. This is a special paper that have been circulating in what we should say high circles where people who can read the scientific jargon used here would understand where this particular virus came from. Now we know they are telling you it came from bats and snakes and people eating bat soup and people eating snakes and a whole set of things they have told us. And they give us the impression that this virus jumped the species barrier and somehow entered into man. All you have to do is to get a copy or get one of those same viruses infecting the people and trace the origin of that virus. Their laboratory, their high-quality laboratory, have been able to map the genome of the virus to find out exactly where it came from. And you won't believe the shocking evidence released in this scientific paper. To date, another scientific paper has been released, and it is even more troubling. Now, we say this thing because you need to protect yourself. We also have here another paper, and this paper tells us viral pathogens and severe acute respiratory syndrome, oligodynamic AG, the atomic weight for silver, for direct immune intervention. And this other document gives by far much more evidence how you can use colloidal silver to kill the virus. And the document, which is part of a larger document, a larger scientific document, gives detailed analysis of how exactly the silver kills the virus. So that when we tell you these things, we are not guessing, we are not speculating. We are giving you scientific research that has shown these important things. Now, in this first document here with the origins of this virus, we need to carefully read some points here for you. Here is what we are told. I quote, "Recombination technology has been in use in molecular virology since the 1980s. The structure of the 2019 novel coronavirus genome provides a very strong clue on the likely origins of the virus." So then they could look at the genome of this virus and see where it came from. We are told, unlike other related coronaviruses, notice this, unlike other related coronaviruses, the 2019 novel coronavirus has a unique sequence about 1,378 BP, that is, nucleotide base pairs, long, that is not found in related coronaviruses. So then if you take coronavirus that you get in bats, coronavirus that you get in snakes and other places, you would find that this particular coronavirus, this novel one that have infected people, the unique sequence about it is longer than the sequence of viruses, the same type of coronaviruses found in bats and snakes, etc. This means this virus has more information, more things added to it than the usual coronavirus. That's what this research has shown. We also have a whole, what we call graphs and charts here that those who can read it would understand. But let me show you a little lower down what it tells us here. It says the gap in the line shows a lack of sequence homology between the most similar bat coronavirus and the 2019 novel coronavirus. The inserted sequence, which should not be there, is here, and they show you the inserted portion. So this virus has inserted portions in it. When they took the virus and they investigated its genome, how it is made up, they found that it is longer than the average coronavirus and it has inserted portions. That's what they found in this research institute, in their laboratories. I go a little lower down. It shows a database search by the first team, that's the team of scientists, to study and publish the whole genome sequence for the origins of the inserted sequence, turned up no hits. So they searched and tried to find where this inserted sequence come from to be in this coronavirus, and they couldn't get any hits. We are told they conducted a codon bias analysis, which led them to speculate that perhaps there had been a recombination event between a coronavirus in snakes with a coronavirus from bats. Now that's what they begin to say. So this has what we call a recombination of bat coronavirus and snake coronavirus. That's the only thing they could have come to say. And that's what they speculated about it. But let's go on again and find out more information. When they did more research, here is what happened. I quote, "We also found significant sequence similarity of INS1378 to a P shuttle SN vector that was in use in the 1980s in China to create a more immunogenic coronavirus." And then they give us the details below. What does this tell us? That somehow there are properties in this virus that shows it was structured to do two things: infect more readily and also to find a vaccine for that infection. In other words, you create a virus that has a greater potential of infecting persons, infectability, and also you try to create a vaccine with the same virus to vaccinate people so that in case they get infected with this terrible virus, they would be able to have a vaccine for it. This is what was found in the research so far. It goes on. It says, the same person was quoted in a February 2017 Nature, that's the name of the magazine, article stating that SARS had escaped the Wuhan facility multiple times. What does this mean? There is a viral organization and facility in Wuhan itself, 20 miles from the first breakout of the virus. And this facility multiple times had problems with this virus escaping the facility. That's what they found out. It was reported in Nature magazine. So it is not just once, but multiple times this coronavirus that the Chinese technicians were dealing with had escaped the Wuhan facility. But this time, the escaping was through a different means, and it was worse. Yes, my dear people. Now, this organization, IPAC, with its researchers, by the way, it is not government funded. It is privately funded. This IPAC organization found some shocking realities here. We have graphs, we have charts and everything here for those who know how to read them. And let me tell you this, my dear people. This document here, they give us 4 options for how this virus came to spread. Where did it come from and how it came to spread? And they gave us an opinion for the real facts about it. So they will give us 4 different opinions, and they will say, no, it can't be this one. No, it can't be that one. Well, this third one, there is a certain measure of reality. And then now it comes to the 4th one, and it says, opinion 4, a recombined virus made in a laboratory for the purpose of creating a vaccine. That's the real facts they found out about this strain of coronavirus. IPAC researchers, I quote, found a sequence similarity between a P shuttle SN recombination vector sequence and INS 1378. What does that mean? they actually found that there's a sequence similarity between a strain of virus that was used to create vaccines and this same virus that are infecting people. It says, it turns out that the sequence from P shuttle is most closely related to the spike protein from SARS coronavirus. Now, let me just try to put an information in your head here in a symbolic form. Here you have fingers. And if you have, let us say, something like jelly or jello, you take your fingers and you stick it into the jello, and that way you can lift the jello up, because your fingers can bore holes into it to hold it. Think about spikes like fingers coming from the virus, and those spikes are able to infect the mucus of your body, the mucus lining of your body, so that this virus can become more infectable. This is something like what they found. It says here, this particular technology was used in 2008 to attempt to develop a more immunogenic vaccine against coronavirus. And then we are told here is a Chinese patent for that technique and product intended for use in vaccine. And then we give us the patent summary statement from China, translated from the Chinese language. And it shows that they did have a patent for a portion of this virus to create a laboratory virus for a vaccine. Quoting from that Chinese document, I give you certain portions. It says, specific conditions of the present invention compared with conventional inactivated virus particle vaccine, safe, easy to use, without limitation, intramuscular, have broad clinical applications. That's what they are saying in their very document itself. They actually say in their document that they literally had a vaccine in trial on animals, infant animals and adult animals. Sad to say, let me give you another quotation here from the Chinese document, just brief portions because it's a highly scientific worded document and would make no sense to many of us who don't understand the language of virology. But listen to these portions. Portion like, which induced enhanced disease and immunopathology. Statements like syncytial virus, RSV, in infants and in animal models given RSV vaccine and challenged naturally infants or artificially animals with RSV. Again, it has been proposed that the nucleocapsid protein of SARS coronavirus is the antigen to which the immunopathologic reaction is directed, thus concern for proceeding to humans with candidate SARS coronavirus vaccines emerge from these various observations. And that's what they said. So, what does the available evidence show? That the Chinese were indeed doing experimentation with creating a vaccine for coronavirus, a coronavirus that has already been engineered mixed with bat and snake coronavirus. And as the latest document, which I don't have in my hand here, but as the latest document tells us, there are also portions of HIV strains in this coronavirus. Yes, my dear people. And that was the most disturbing thing. Portions of sequences from HIV-1, which means somebody put this thing together to create maximum infectability. And the Chinese had this virus and they were making a vaccine for it. Vaccine trials took place on people, but it didn't work as it didn't work on the animals. And it is from people in this vaccine trial that this virus began to spread in Wuhan, and from in Wuhan, 20 miles from the lab, it began to spread to other places. Yes, my dear people. Why? Because it has a 14 days period where you cannot know if a person is infected. But when they have it in them for that 14 days, they can transmit it to other people until 14 days later, they begin to see the symptoms. So for 14 days, they can be transmitting this virus to people without even knowing they are sick. Until 14 days later, they begin to get sick. And that's how it could spread so far and wide from people who were in those vaccine trials. So we are told the available evidence most strongly supports that the 2019 novel coronavirus virus is a vaccine strain. Listen to me. It's a vaccine strain of coronavirus either accidentally released from a laboratory accident, perhaps a laboratory researcher becoming infected with the virus while conducting animal experiments, or the Chinese were performing clinical studies of a coronavirus vaccine in humans. That's the only results you can come to if you ask yourself how this virus came about. And if you study the genome of this virus, it's a laboratory virus, combination of bat and snake coronavirus, have HIV sequences in it also. It's longer than the actual viruses, but it is a virus that actually was used in experimentation for a vaccine. So somebody, or bodies, plural, who got vaccinated for this virus, it didn't work, and they begin to spread the virus 14 days after the initial infection. Yes, my dear people. And this is how this virus came about. That's where it came from. That's the facts. This document is factual. And now it is spreading around in high circles as we begin to understand that you cannot create a vaccine for this virus. However, in my next document here, let me read for you quickly what it tells us. The viral pathogens and severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS, oligodynamic silver for direct immune intervention. This document shows us that silver works to kill this coronavirus, all strains, all mutations, all the colonies it will form. But it is always better if you hit it as it now begins. It tells us, this study shows how effective picoscalar oligodynamic silver ions is the most effective at preventing replication of the SARS coronavirus and effectively destroying it. This simply means that extreme smaller than 1 nanomillimeter in size, electrically produced silver ions at low concentrations, oligodynamic, are effective against the SARS coronavirus. Quote, if indeed the SARS strain of human coronavirus is enveloped with a minimal fatty wrapper or without a fatty wrapper, which is likely, then oligodynamic silver should readily denature, one, its envelope. Now, all viruses have an envelope, so it will rip off the envelope of the virus, the coronavirus. Two, its capsid, that's further parts of the virus just under the coat. Three, its protein constituents, that's information that the virus holds. And 4, its entire genome as suggested by the work of Feng et al. Again, you see, the Chinese know that silver can destroy the virus. In fact, they have used silver in technology to make tables and trays to deal with viruses. Even in Trinidad, in hospitals, you have trays with aluminum embedded with silver ions so that any virus go on those trays, the silver kills it. We have actual trays and tables in Trinidad, in hospitals, where those viruses are killed when they touch the surface. So it's a technology already existing. Yes, my dear people. We also had the information of how they produced it. So we know that silver does really kill the virus. Get your colloidal silver, get your nano silver, and use it. And we will show you eventually a wise way of using it. We are living in terrible times. This know also that in the last days, perilous times shall come. And as you are living in perilous times, you need to take an extra care of your own self. And also casting a care upon him, Jesus, for he cared for you. Notice this, what we are told here. Notice this. Possessing much smaller sub-nanometer size particles, greater electrical potential and lower concentrations is more bioavailable than other formulations. And we are told that it kills the virus. Notice, we are told silver can effectively work to denature any kind of SARS coronavirus mutations, thereby showing that with the recent outbreak of this new coronavirus, 2019, colloidal silver should without a doubt effectively be used to rid infected persons of the virus, as well as to be used as a preventative means from getting infection. And so this document tells us a lot. We are going to have to read from this document more next time to show you. But in concluding, Tuesday Seventh-day Adventist, a revival of original Seventh-day Adventism from the 1840s that has spread from Trinidad to different parts of the world now, that we have churches and members in different parts of the world. This church has been blessed by God with the information as to where this virus comes from and how to help yourself. Do not throw away this information. Do not be distracted by people who are giving you propaganda from many medical institutions who have an agenda behind it. Do not be fooled with the denial of conspiracy theories claims. But take these facts that we give you. We're speaking the truth of God, and we want you to be saved and to be safe. So get your colloidal silver, buy it, have it in home. The bottles must be dark, not clear bottles where sunlight could shine through easy. It must be dark bottles. And get your authentic colloidal silver. It is non-toxic, as the document shows, to all the cells of the human body. But it will rob the virus of its election and destroy its coats. So, remember these important things. You need to accept Jesus Christ as your Savior. Let him change you and let him make you righteous. And that he will save you. Yes, my dear people. So, if anyone wants this program, call us at 625-0446. 625-0446 will give you this program plus others that went before. And may God bless you until we meet again in Jesus' holy name.